Question. Mental health is an issue affecting the youth. We are actually talking about depression, isn't it?
Yeah.
But depression is being caused by other causes here. So kuna vitu sasa zina result in lack of mental health, either out of drug abuse or out of continued social injustice. Ama hiyo kitu umesema kama
peer pressure,
femicide. Aya. Unfavorable government policies. Which are some of the policies ni unfavorable to the youth?
Tukianzisha biashara kama mimi naanzisha biashara naogopa licensing and too much taxation.
Licensing and taxation is an unfavorable government policy to the youth. Perfecto. Another one.
Age limit.
Age
limit, especially during employment.
Age limit during employment. Tunaambiwa ulete experience ya 10 years.
Yes.
Next. Tunaambiwa ulete experience ya 10 years na ndio umetoka karibu.
Government policies or practices where the government is competing with the private sector in accessing loans from banks, making it very expensive for loans.
Oh yes, the government has done a lot of domestic borrowing, therefore there is less money in circulation, therefore youths are unable to borrow money at low interest rates. So what about youths being unable to borrow money because they need security?
Yeah.
And they can't.
Unaitishwa logbook ama title? Naona.
Yes, from the government. Now that was to 7.
So hiyo inakuja to number 7, access to capital or credit. You kama uko unemployed, then the other option to out of poverty is access to capital.
Yes.
Okay. Peer pressure inaweza kuja kushikana na drug abuse. Lack of business ideas. Nani aliweka hiyo point?
That was Geoffrey's point.
Okay.
But no,
defend your point. Why is lack of business ideas a problem for the youth? If they had the business idea, where would they get the capital? Let's say youths have the idea, where would they get the capital?
If you have the money and you don't have business idea, what will happen?
How many youths in Kenya
have
have money without ideas?
They have so many ideas.
So I was saying that because they need to be taught how to make
So money for education.
So
Let me change it in a different way. Let me change it from lack of business ideas, alright, to financial literacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Financial literacy on money management.
Yeah.
That's education.
No, it's different. Education is different.
I think PL, that issue on financial literacy, it is still falls under unfavorable government policies. Because the government should be having policies just like private firms do, like banks. Banks have programs whereby they decide that we are going to educate farmers on
financial literacy.
Morara Kibas was come out strongly to show what has been affecting the youth in Kenya, from mental health, social depression, lack of money, and many other things. But some of them which the government promised in 2022 that once they ascend to power, once they put the Bible down after swearing in, then some of the things will be of the past in Kenya. But look at what is happening in the country at the moment. Still the same problem are happening. We have seen other reports suggesting that most of these African countries are kept poor intentionally by the West so that their resources can be exploited. And that was what about to happen in Kenya when the contested finance bill was really resisted by Kenyans. Is this because the West wanted to give Kenya loans and increase the amount of money on products in Kenya so that they can recover their loans? But Kenyans stood up and opposed that very strongly. However, unfortunately, many young people who were there lost their life. Some were injured, some were abducted and killed. So, is Kenya really where is it supposed to be, or it's going to take a lot of many years, just like any other African nations? Remember, Kenya had a plan that by 2030 it was to be a developed nation in Africa. This was signed by Kibaki, a former president, who really did a marvelous job in transforming Kenya, especially through education and healthcare.
Drug abuse, lack of business ideas. Nani aliweka hiyo point?
That was Geoffrey's point.
Okay.
But no,
defend your point. Why is lack of business ideas a problem for the youth? If they had the business idea, where would they get the capital? Let's say youth have the idea, where would they get the capital?
If you have the man and you don't have business idea, what will happen?
How many youths in Kenya
We have so
have
many
money
ideas.
without ideas?
Yes.
They have so many ideas.
So I was saying that because they need to be taught how to make to
So money for education.
To
So
make
that- now,
education.
that's
That
one-
way,
okay,
education,
not- not-
yeah.
Let me change it in a different way.
You can find
Let me change it from lack of business ideas, alright, to financial literacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Financial literacy
That's
on money
education.
management.
Yeah.
That's education.
No.
No, it's different. Education in handle different.
I think PL, that issue on financial literacy, it is still falls under unfavorable government policies because the government should be having policies just like private firms do, like banks. Banks have programs whereby they decide that we are going to educate farmers on
No,
how to
financial
process.
literacy is a very different.
I was looking at Keep Karen Water Treatment Project. Yes.
Ulipata nini huko? Tupeleke Kipkaren kwanza.
Wacha niwapeleke Keep Karen. So Keep Karen was a project that was being funded by the Africa Development Bank, right? The value of the project for Keep Karen was 1.185 billion, but it was in US dollars. So I'm assuming that by now that value could be higher. So it was about 7 years ago. The purpose of this project was to provide up to 23 million liters per day of water into Eldoret. As you can see, Eldoret has been now upgraded into a city. But there is still a big problem of water, especially in areas of Langas, Racecourse Ward, Pioneer Estate, Kapsoya, where we have water rationing because the water that is coming in from the Kapsoya water project is not able to serve all the residents of Eldoret. So this project was conceptualized in 7 years ago. That's when the tender was awarded to a contractor called Mashiri. Now, I went there to see whether we have water flowing. And to my utter surprise, I found that there is, yes, there are some semblance of structures. There are some pipes on the ground, but the project has completely stalled. And to make matters worse, this contractor has already been paid 767 million.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. In terms of whether we know actually that funds have been released to the contractor to be able to do certain things. And from what you're saying, money was released, 700 and what?
767 million.
767 million. So one would assume that with this 767 million, at the very least, there would be, something working, even if it was not onto completion.
Yes, out of 1.185 billion,
More than
700
half. It's more than
is
half.
70%.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
How do we know it has been paid?
You just read the Auditor General's report.
What does the Auditor General say about this particular project? Again, just for purposes of people who may have missed it. What project are we talking about?
We are talking about the Keep Karen Water Treatment Piping Project.
Okay.
Yeah, water treatment and piping projects.
When was it launched?
The launch date, I was unable to find it, but I found a site visit by the governor of Uasin Gishu, which dates back 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi. Auditor General?
Yes, this project was being done by the Lake Basin, what we call Lake Victoria.
This gentleman has exposed over $1 trillion worth of project in Kenya alone. We have seen him move from county by being assisted by the donations of young people in the country of Kenya who also were fighting bad governance. He has also become a face of hope in the country, but at the moment, things might not be going on very well for him. This is after Fred Matiang'i announced his bid to enter the race come 2027, and this has really got many people excited, also drawing a lot of and some of attention from Morara Kebaso, who has been key, and a majority of the people are expecting that he was to be a political heavyweight come to 2027. But at the moment, as things are realigning themselves, the politics is swallowing some of the people and making some of the people, destroying some of the people. We have seen what has happened to Kasmul. Since ever he moved or aligned with ODM, he has been bashed by many people on platform and even sometimes threatened to be deplatformed over issues of mistrust by the young people who seemingly thought that he is the one and only hope they have.
That this money has already been paid out towards the project.
Yes.
It has already been spent
Yes.
on the project.
Yes.
And when you go there's actually no treatment and piping project
There's nothing
on the ground.
Oh, well, as I told you earlier, there is a semblance of
There's some
structures.
structures.
There is some structures, but these structures cannot be said to constitute what we can call a water project that is functional or that is near functioning. Yes.
I know you'll get some of those details and even more because
Yes.
I'd like to get deeper into what you've been doing. But let's just take a step back now. Morara Kebaso, people start seeing you on X.